for the people that are here. So the residents, so we have to defer to them. And unfortunately, we have very little pull, P-U-L-L, not poll, all right? Very little pull with them because we use this room for free, all right? So our leverage is zero, all right? Exactly. Leverage is equivalent to the amount of dollars you pay to have the room, right? And so when the dollars to pay to have the room is zero, then your leverage is absolutely zero. So we just go with what we can do and how we can work around their schedule a little bit. By the way, it's always fun. If you guys, probably at least a couple times a year, we'll see the residents roll by, literally roll by sometimes, and they're rolling in, all right? Or their scooters, and all of a sudden, and they can smell the donuts, all right? And most of them are on dietary restrictions, and so they're like, whoa, shoot, and they're like, and we have to really shoo some of them away. Say, go, I need to have permission note from your doctor or your nurse to let you know that you can have that. So if you see them rolling in to go for one, just give me a heads up so we can knock them down. So perfect. We'll tackle them, all right? And then it'll be on. See, these are these kind of things right there. When I just say I'll tackle an elderly person, right, is why I can never run for office, because this just shows up on YouTube. That clip will be held out, and they'll say, and they'll have that really dark gray effect on the ad, right? Bob McDougall running for Senate. Here's what he thinks about our elderly. I'll tackle him, right? So anyway, all right, everybody good? I have no desire to run for office anyway, so that's all good. Hey, I'm glad you guys got the note that we switched, so people will catch up. Matter of fact, we got almost a better turnout than we do on Tuesdays. I'll have to consider a Monday, Jim. Right? You know, the whole reason, it's the old, why did we choose Tuesday, first Tuesday of the month as our office meeting? It's because that's the only day that they don't have exercise in this room, I think, right? Is that what we decided, Jim? Or back in the day, it was something that Tuesday just worked out better for their schedule, so we made it work for our schedule. They did. They had like a B&I group that met ahead of us, I think, and so we waited. That's why it used to be 10 o'clock, because we had to get them cleaned up, and then now we moved it to 9:30, now that they're not meeting here anymore, and so on and so forth. So it's the old, you heard why the lady, she was putting the ham in the oven, she always chopped off both ends of the ham, right? And she put it in the oven, and the kid said, Mom, why do we do that? Well, it's just, the way Grandma did it, all right? Okay, right? So, Grandma, why do you chop off both ends of the ham? Well, that's the way my mom did it. So great-grandma was still alive. So they went to, great-grandma, why did you? Well, I never had a pan big enough to fit the ham, right? So they thought it was because, that's she had to chop off the ham, but so there was something about the flavor that occurred by doing it. But so we just get into the habit of doing things just because that's the way we've always done it, right? So speaking of which, hang on tight through the end. We don't have a guest FHR speaker, but I'm going to cover some stuff in the contract that you need to really pay attention to, because I'm going to cover the difference between the FAR bar as is, right, which 97% of the contracts are being written on the FAR bar as is right now, agreed? And the FAR bar regular, I'm going to call it. I don't know, there's probably some fancy name for it. Tom Scaglione can say it frontwards and backwards probably, but the FAR bar regular, and why, as a listing agent representing the seller, you may want to consider using the FAR bar regular, okay, and still get the benefits of the as-is portion you're looking for, all right? It's a little teaser. We come back after the break, all right, and I'm going to keep you around, all right, but I'm just telling you there are some benefits that and you're going to start seeing it. In Orlando, some of the agents are receiving offers from other agents, and they're insisting that they use the regular contract with 0 repair limits. Okay? Not a bad idea, not a bad technique, and I'll sell you on it here in a bit. All right? So before that, let's go around to our vendors and let them have their say. Jerry, how are you?
Good morning.
Good. Fist bump? All right? Flu season.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, we'll get even further. You hold this. All right? Because I am. All right.
Okay, good morning, Future Home Realty. My name is Jerry Papa. I'm the broker-owner of Gulfview Realty Property Management, full-service lease and property management company located in the offices of Future Home Realty in West Chase. And for those of you that I don't know, welcome. Whether you're a new agent or thinking about coming to Future Home Realty, it's the best real estate company in Tampa Bay. We service all of Tampa Bay. We work with Future Home agents throughout Tampa Bay. We provide referral fees. We also promise to never steal your customer, and we provide a variety of services which are all systemically linked to our cloud system, so that whether the owner lives in Beijing or whether the owner lives in
Nashville.
Carrollwood or Nashville or Brentwood or Franklin or Belmead. Okay, you'll find that we provide services that are systemically driven so that our owners have complete visibility and access to all their information 24/7. All of our property managers, of which I have one here with me, Tracy Newton, who used to be a Future Home Realtor, provide that service to you directly, so you have a direct contact, and our services are also such that they provide you with an opportunity to gain even more acclaim with your customer, because when we do a great job for you with property management, and they subsequently want to use you more because they may want to have more properties in their portfolio. Thank you very much, Jerry Papa, Gulfview Realty Property Management. I can't believe you didn't.
You know what? We got a little more flexibility here. Less vendors. So I always had to take our total vendor time and divide it by the number of vendors in place. So it's good. Give him a little airtime there. Let me add to that. So I'm a customer of Jerry's office, right? I have a couple rental properties that I've managed on my own for many, many years. I'm telling you, all right, it's worth its weight in gold for me as an owner. All right. The other morning, I woke up to an email on November 1st saying I'm 60 days out from one of my leases being up, right? And it's an automated system. And by the way, you know how many of my leases were up before I had them manage my properties? Let me put it this way. I was on month to month on all of them, all right, because they had defaulted to month, because that's what happens in the lease that I was using at the time, that it would default to that, right? So I was just missing all this stuff. All right, they've taken a burden off me. It's incredible. They do a fantastic job.
Thank you.
All right, so kudos to that. And I know you're wanting me to say that in writing, right?
No.
Okay. Keeps bugging me for a referral, so I'll do that sometime. I got that email saved. All right,
Okay.
I promise I'll do it. But this is better anyway. All right, just show them this video. All right, okay. But the ability to do that as an owner, all right, is huge, right? That they take care of everything. It's, again, money-wise, it still costs me money. I still have to do the repairs and all that stuff. Totally out of my hands. All right, number one. Number two, Tracy happens to be my property manager and does a fantastic job. Great relationship with my tenants, knocks stuff out of the park. Here's what I know you're thinking as an agent, right? Why would I give business to somebody else, right? The answer is because they do it better than you do, all right? As far as property management is concerned, they do it better than you do. I'm here to tell you, I've seen your paperwork. They do it better than you do, right? And you still get the referral back when it's time to buy or sell. That person says, hey, look, I'm tired of having this rental. I'm ready to do it, right? Or something I hadn't thought of until Jerry just brought it up. They do such a good job, they're saying, this is easy. Let's buy some more, right? Okay, and it's because it's easy because they're taking off all the hard stuff from your plate or from your owner's plate. All right? So it makes it easier for them to want to do it. So they protect your client, meaning when I say protect your client, you're going to get the business back. That is 95% of the time why agents want to even dabble in rentals and property management. They're fearful of losing the relationship that 3, 5, 7 years from now, that person becomes a buyer or seller, and they want to maintain it. This solves that problem without the headache. Plus, how many of you saw the email I sent out? Probably a week ago. Long list of things that we're changing. No lease options. Now we haven't changing. We're just reminding you. No lease options. No assignable contracts. The whole list of stuff, right? If you're going to do rentals, you better have that agent agreement regarding rentals in place. Also says you don't do property management, all right, without prior written permission from me throwing holy water on your head. Okay, until I see. Now, once you see that, I've got some agents that have reached out to me because I've got some agents that have been doing property management for a while and they're still doing it. All right, those that are doing it, the rules that I set in place, all right, when you read that agreement, which you haven't seen yet, all right, but those who do it, when you read that agreement, you're going to say, what in the heck, why would somebody even pay me? If they have to do it that way, then why would they even hire me? Yeah, that's what I'm saying, all right? I don't want you doing the business. And the reason is, I'll say this 100 times, all right? You go look at all of our one-star reviews, 5 stars, 5 stars, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5 star, right? Every one-star review we have is from a tenant. Every one of them, okay? Because they're systemically, let me borrow a Jerry Papa word, all right? fault. Okay, they take no personal responsibility. So therefore, something went wrong on this application. The landlord denied me? Holy smokes, 1 star, all right? Future home blows, 1 star, right? Why? Because they got rejected their application because they've been evicted 6 times, right? And the landlord decided, I don't really like that, okay? So just bear in mind, you guys, I can't implore you enough. Go sell real estate. You make a lot more money selling real estate than you do managing properties. I'm just here to tell you, all right? Dollar for dollar, dollar per hour, not even close. I shouldn't even be saying this because Tracy's going to quit and we'll have to find a new property management job, all right? Okay, all right, okay? But I'm just telling you, let the people who enjoy doing it, do it, all right? And you still get the benefit of keeping the relationship. Are you with me? Now again, if you want to do it, you're going to have to go through me and we're going to have a long, hard face-to-face discussion about can you do it this way? And the answer is going to be no, all right? And I'm going to say, okay, great, then you need to refer it out. Fair enough?
Bob, can I add
Yeah.
one thing?
Yes, you may.
One thing that I think that brings us to a point where we're much different than some of the other property management companies out there, we have a proprietary resident manual. The resident manual was developed over time, and it is near 40 pages long. That manual is admissible in court over and above our very extensively legally driven lease that's done by a professional law firm who specializes in property management. But when we develop the resident manual, it covers just about every element of what we expect of a tenant living in a property that we manage. And the property manager goes through that page by page before they provide access to the property. And every adult 18 years of age or older must sign for the manual so that when there's an issue of any sort, we refer back to that as well as we refer back to the lease. And we have been told by NARPM, which is the National Association of Residential Property Managers, which I just went to the annual conference, that manual is so important to the relationship that you have with your residents that property management companies that haven't developed such a thing actually put their business at risk and put their owners' properties at risk, because even though the lease is very extensive, that manual covers all the little things that aren't covered so that there's a firm understanding. And because they signed for it and they reviewed it with the property manager, you can take it to court.
And guess what? When I was managing my own properties, I didn't have a 40-page tenant what?
Resident manual.
Resident manual, all right? Didn't have it, all right? And so, it is what it is. So I'm just telling you, guys, again, we'll discuss it later if you want to really do property management. And I'll say, hey, you know what? Sounds like you got a real passion for that. Here's Jerry's number. All right? All right? Go talk to Jerry and you can manage properties under his broker's license, not mine. Let him get the 1 stars, not me. All right? Okay, fair enough. Good deal. We're going to come back to David Rankin. All right? Does this guy look like an attorney? No? All right?
Yeah,
I'd say he does, doesn't he? He has that attorney-looked face, all right? Yeah. All right? Okay, very good, all right? In a good way, not the Morgan and Morgan way, all right? I'm talking about in the good way, all right? By the way, John Morgan doesn't even have a law, he got disbarred. You understand that? Right? Yeah. Yeah, okay. His sons now have it or whatever, but he's been disbarred for how many years now? Who knows, all right? But he obviously holds a lot of clout because he got somebody up in Tallahassee to give him the right to say, he sued to say that I can still use my face as the, face of, and here come the Santa Claus ones, they're coming, all right? John Morgan in a Santa Claus hat, you wait to the billboards, they're coming, all right? They are coming. Brian, how are you, brother?
I am doing great.
Good. Brian's going to go to Nashville tomorrow.
I am.
Yeah, see?
To get warm weather and all that stuff.
Yeah.
No, actually to get cool out.
Yeah.
Great. So regional meetings. So Brian Brown, Old Republic Home Warranty. I got a couple things I want to say real quick. Number one, I want to thank you for being my number one office.
Nice.
Which is nice. Number two is I want to wish you guys a great Thanksgiving, and I hope you actually take time off from your business and spend it with your family, because that's what you're supposed to do. Stop working on Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving morning.
Morning.
All right, still work
Well, he
Thanksgiving
may want you to
afternoon.
work,
All right,
but I'm
okay.
just saying,
How many of you guys watched my
take some
video
time
this
off.
morning? Said finish strong. Everybody else is quitting. All right, so you guys keep working. All right, don't listen to this guy. All right? Family schmamly, sell houses.
Yeah, take Thursday off. So, So the other thing I want to do is remind you that, in that contract that he's going to be talking about, there's actually a section for warranties. I know you probably haven't seen it because normally you check no and have them sign it. But remember, the market's changing right now, so now's a good time you can ask the sellers to pay for a warranty now because they're not getting all those multiple contracts. Now's a good time to protect your buyers with a warranty. So don't forget to write an Old Republic home warranty not to exceed, and I would put at least $525, that's our ultimate plan. And then, of course, if you got a pool and stuff, you'd have to add all that in. But at least ask for the ultimate plan. And I had one more thing. What was the other thing? Do you remember? Well, you wouldn't remember because I didn't tell you. But,
No.
So anyway. And the other thing I want to say is, I know what it is. Remember, it's all about coverage, not about price. With us, you get coverage. And, other competitors sometimes look like they're less money, and they can be, but when you add up the coverages and you start adding those coverages, you'll find out that that's really not what you're getting. So it's all about coverage, not about price. And Brian Brown, Old Republic Home Warranty.
Awesome. Good deal. Fly
And
safely up there.
have a good Thanksgiving. Taking
Absolutely.
It off.
All right. Very good. Awesome. How are you?
Hi, good, how are you?
Great.
I'm Janet Shum. I'm with Old Republic Exchange Company. We are a nationwide qualified intermediary for 1031 exchanges. So if you have a client that's selling in New York and they're buying in Florida, you can get me involved with the process. I'm doing a free webinar next month, December 10th at 10 a.m. So if you're on LinkedIn, be sure to follow that information. You can connect with me on there.
Can you get us the link to that?
Yeah, I can.
So that we can put it out to the agents,
Yes, I'll
all of
send
them?
it. Can I send it to you?
Send it to that guy right
That
there.
guy? Okay.
All right. Okay.
I'll get it to you. And like I said, it's a 30-minute webinar. It's free. Log in. And it's just going to go over the basics of exchange for those of you who really aren't that familiar with them. But we have our office in West Shore. I'm a local West Chase resident, and I'm a member of GTAR. What are you calling it now? GTAR?
Get her. Yeah. Get her
and
done. Get her done.
And then I wanted to mention too that Tom was the winner of my Tom Scaglione of my door prize at the Fall Expo.
Nice.
Get
Very
her.
good.
Mhm. Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Good deal.
Did you use your Starbucks card?
I've used part of it.
You
See,
okay.
he's on the way. He's kind of slowly but
He's-
surely.
okay, he's getting
Very
there,
good.
but thank
Hey,
you.
1031 exchange, another bullet for your belt, right? Okay, the more bullets you have in your belt, okay, again, I'm a Second Amendment kind of guy. The more bullets that you have for your belt, the more lethal you can become as an agent, all right? Nothing wrong with having more opportunity, we'll call it, tools for you, all right? People want to cower in the corner because I said gun, all right? More tools in your belt. There's a hammer and there's a wrench. The more tools you have in your belt, the better off we're going to be. Cool enough? Fair enough? How are you? Good? You good? Yes. Awesome. Any other vendors I missed besides David? All right. We'll come back to you in a second. I'll let you go ahead and finish getting set up. We got time. All right, no problem. David, you got a second? Sure. Come on up. So David Rankin, like I said, that's the guy you have you're surprised he's an attorney because he actually has a sense of humor. All right? Can you imagine that? He's got a couple things he wanted to chat about.
I do.
I'll let you hold this.
All right. First of all, cyber fraud. People over the course of months and years, and at first you hear about the issue, and you become a little bit complacent. And the problem is, it only takes one time to absolutely ruin your life and ruin the life of someone else. All right. So what you have to assume as your client, whether it's a seller or a buyer, knows nothing about and has never heard about cyber fraud. Even if they have, you want to make sure that you take the opportunity to educate them about cyber fraud. Because in one way or the other, you have a buyer who's going to go to closing, and they're going to have a significant amount of money that they're going to be transferring. And that is an opportunity for them to be a victim of cyber fraud. And people, buyers are transferring, $15, $20, $25, $50,000 at a time. And if they're not aware, and you have to assume that they know nothing about cyber fraud, then they can be the victim of cyber fraud. And let me tell you, when it happens, it is a tragedy. I mean, here it is, somebody who was in your, putting a lot of trust and confidence in you. And I would say, I've talked to other attorneys about this, and in situations where realtors did not educate their clients and they became victims of cyber fraud, there are realtors who are telling me their opinion is, well, now wait a minute, there's really no duty on the part, there's no legal duty on the part of the agent to educate. So maybe they wouldn't be the victims of a damages lawsuit. However, I think that is changing, and I think quickly, in the next year or so, there's going to be a lawsuit, and there's going to be an agent, a buyer's agent, who did not educate their client. The question is, did your agent take the time to discuss with you what cyber fraud is and how to avoid being damaged by it? And if the buyer says no, then not only the brokerage, but the sales associate could be held liable for the entire amount of the transfer that went not to the title company, but to a cyber fraud person who was committing cyber fraud. So whenever you're going through these documents with the buyer or the seller, and you get to the cyber fraud disclosure, you want to take the opportunity to convince them that you and Future Home are people and a brokerage that is far and away better than the competitors, because there are a lot of people, I would say 80% of the agents don't take the time to educate. And once again, if you fail to educate, think about this. These people's life savings, they're looking forward to becoming homeowners, and the only thing that separates them from home ownership is this, losing this money. And there have been documented cases where people have transferred money to someone committing cyber fraud, and it's lost. Gone. Just think about that for a moment. So whenever you have the opportunity, when you're signing a contract, when you're, that first conversation that you had, or whenever it's appropriate, but before the contract is signed and before they send the deposit, educate them. Did you realize that, do you know what cyber fraud is? And if they say yes, forget them, their impression that they know what it is. Explain it to them. Don't just go through don't be in a hurry. Do not get in a situation where you've only got 15 or 20 minutes to go through the contract with them. Do not do that. Avoid that at all costs, because there is absolutely nothing worse. And I've told this story before, but my neighbor said, hey, a guy at church has a real problem. I said, what is it? He said, well, he got an email from his realtor, or he thought it was from his realtor, and his realtor was telling him that, hey, the money for this closing, go ahead and send it to this. Here are the wiring instructions. So later in the day, the realtor called the couple, and the wife said, hey, they were talking about something else, and they said, hey, we went ahead and sent the money. And what do you mean? So, well, we got that email from you. It said send the money, and we sent the money. You did what? Long story short, they lost $50,000. And in my mind, I had a hard time not saying that you should look directly at that sales associate and raise hell with that sales associate. Because think about it. What are the chances of that buyer sending that $50,000 in response to that email if that realtor, if that buyer's agent had said, hey, let me tell you about cyber fraud. You may get an email that looked like it's coming from me. And human nature is to be helpful, to be responsive, and to do what other people tell you. And since it appears to be from your realtor, the first inclination would be, gee, not just to do it, but to do it as quickly as possible. All right? So here you had a situation where their life savings was gone. And the only reason that happened, the only reason that the cyber fraud expert succeeded, was because that sales associate failed to spend the time. And really, when you spend that time, you show, number one, that you care, number two, that you're educated, that you're experienced, that you're better than all those other people, all your competitors. So make sure when you get that opportunity to send that message, spend that time and protect these people, because there's absolutely, the first time that it happens to anybody at Future Home, it's going to be a very, very, very sad day. It is just, and it can be avoided. The only thing that separates that person from being a victim is you educating them. All right? So I'm into complacency. That's my theme today. Back about 5 or 6 years ago, there, probably about maybe a little bit more, there was a big hubbub about HOA disclosure. Before this, there was no HOA disclosure required. There was a hue and cry in the legislature because elderly people were becoming the victims of what, wasn't a crime. It wasn't anything that was, people were intending to harm elderly people. But what was happening is they would buy houses. It wasn't clear to them, or they just didn't ask whether there was an HOA fee. And so they would close, they would get a bill for the HOA dues, and they would say, wait a minute, I can't afford this. That wasn't in the budget. So for however many years, the legislature heard about this problem, and finally they reacted. And there's a specific statute that was adopted 7 or 8 years ago, and it says you must disclose that information. And it's all in the form, and this is where complacency comes in. Everybody has seen the HOA disclosure form. And just by rote, it's one of the sheets in there, and it's got blanks, and so I'll fill that in. But if for some reason the packet that you put together doesn't have the HOA disclosure, imagine this. You're representing the seller. The seller has already got the van in place, they're packing, and you're already, basically you've already got your commission spent, Your spouse is all excited about, look at this income's coming in, and everything's looking great. All right? And then the buyer the morning of closing, you get an email, we're canceling, and we'd like our deposit back. Nothing worse, except cyber fraud. But how did that happen? And once again, complacency. And the statute specifically says this, if you don't provide all the information in the HOA disclosure, then the buyer has the opportunity, and it's totally up to the buyer, to, number one, cancel the transaction, and number two, get their deposit back. Now, even if you're 2 weeks before the closing, and the inspection period has expired, let's say the loan approval period has expired, you can get an email from the buyer saying, we're canceling. And we not only want our deposit back, we know we're entitled to get our deposit back. So even if it's not even close to closing, and they decide on their own, we didn't get that information, and we want to cancel, you are, insert your descriptive term there, but it's not good. It's not good, because they will have 3 days, the buyers will have 3 days to terminate the contract, even if, you decided, okay, ooh, darn, forgot to send this information. Once it's received, 20, 30 days before the closing, once it's received, they have 3 days to terminate the contract for any reason. You've just reopened the door because you didn't give the HOA disclosure information, all right? So once again, it's people start doing these things by rote, and I forgot to give them this addendum, and I forgot to give them that addendum, and this is the only one that's sort of the nuclear explosion addendum, all right? Once again, I'm saying complacency, because a lot of people haven't been in the business long enough, or they've kind of forgotten this, but the remedy here, if you don't provide that information, then the buyer can cancel, all right? And there's a lot of reasons, as we know, that buyers want to get out of a transaction, and normally after the loan approval and the property inspection periods expire, they don't have any option. They will lose their deposit. But here, in this situation, if you just sort of go brain dead and you don't do the HOA, you don't provide that information, then you can lose the transaction, and it's awfully embarrassing. They get their deposit back. All right? Any questions? Yes.
There are some occasions where certain people with condominiums, that you have the condo fees, and the HOA, and some agents only put like an HOA addendum or the condo addendum, and sometimes I go like, better have both. But what's your take on that?
Well, I would say more is better. All right? Don't hesitate. So if you have a condominium property, and the question is, do you give HOA and a condo?
Yeah, because for example, I the selling agent only put an HOA addendum,
Mm-hmm.
and in there had like, sort of like, these are the condo fees or whatever.
Right.
But the condo addendum is a little bit different because it also talks about what documents need to be
Exactly.
given.
And that, you've hit the nail on the head. The condo disclosure provisions don't just address the how much to pay, but there's a long list of documents that must be provided. So, whenever you're doing take advantage of the opportunity to read the condo disclosure addendum and make sure that if you're representing the seller to go down that list with the seller even before it's listed and say, hey, we're going to be required to provide these documents. We need to, but as far as which do, obviously you have to, there's a statute, another statute that says you have to provide all those documents.
If you do the condo addendum, do you still need the HOA addendum?
No, I think the condo writer has an HOA section in it
Right.
as well. So the condo writer is kind of inclusive of both, right? So the condo writer has here the condo fees and required documents. And in addition, there's also an HOA section where the seller, because who's disclosing, by the way? Seller, right? Okay, everybody understands that, right? We do not fill these out for them, all right? My opinion is you wear latex gloves, your fingerprints should never be on a disclosure, right? We don't want to ever get accused of, oh yeah, that disclosure, the agent just asked me some questions and he filled it out for me. Wrong answer, right? We do not. I don't care how elderly they are, right? They fill it out. Well, I don't know if they had a mental acuity to fill it out, Bob. Well, they shouldn't be signing a listing agreement either then, right? Okay? So, their opportunity to disclose. Well, I don't know the answer. Well, who do I call to help you find these out, right? What, you know what I mean? You go back to your checkbook and see how much did you pay last month in this, right? Those are the things that you can help them, guide them on, but it's their opportunity to disclose, and it has to be agreed upon, because David's right. There is that 3-day, once they receive, and there's a longer list on the condo writer, right? Okay, financials, Q&A, all that kind of stuff that's in there, that they have to rescind the contract, or rescind their offer, or basically cancel the contract, I should say, within 3 days after receipt of those documents. That's why it's also very important, when they receive those documents, to have them initial to saying that they've received the documents. That means, what's that mean? Clock starts ticking, right? We got 72 hours, starts now, okay? That's why e-sign is a very good thing, because we can tell when they initialed it, boom, clock starts ticking, there's no question about any of this stuff. Yes, ma'am?
What if the property have no HOA, no association? Do I have to fill that form as well?
No.
No. And there's a question on the seller's disclosure, says, is there an HOA? All right, and the answer is no.
Yeah.
Okay, that the seller has filled out.
Yes.
Checkbox no, right? But is there a disconnect if it says, yes, there's an HOA, but there's no HOA disclosure? Absolutely, right?
If it's
Okay,
voluntary.
right.
So-
That's right. Okay, if it's voluntary, then I would still fill one out and say, hey, it's voluntary.
Right.
All right? Again, more is better. Tom?
Yeah, I just want to point out that if you're using the FAR bar contract,
Uh-huh.
you need to use the FAR bar addendum to that contract for HOA and condo, not the CRISP addendums.
Right. FAR bar
You're not
contract,
supposed to
FAR bar
mix them.
writers. Everybody understand? They have to, because they reference each other. Paragraph 17, when it references that, is talking about paragraph 17 of the FAR bar contract. If you're using a CRISP writer with a FAR bar contract, there's a disconnect, right? Again, let's roll it up in a bottle, let it drip out to sea for 42 years, and somebody comes back, cracks it open, says, oh, here's what they meant, right? You're long gone. You're now, converted into back to dust, ashes to ashes, right? Okay, and so you're back there, but someone says, oh, here's what Bob meant when he wrote that contract. That's how clear your contract should be. You're going to hear me all the time. Over-communicate. Over-communicate.
One more question.
Yeah.
Can you email to Jim the statute that says that people must disclose this? Because every time I go into an MLS as a buyer's agent, and I go to look for the HOA or the condo disclosures, they're not there, and the agent, well, we don't have one. And I tell them, well, by law, you gotta provide it.
Right.
Well, no, I don't. you know, but.
Yeah, you got that?
We had that.
Can you go F.S. on us? Florida statute, love that.
That's right.
Because that way,
You start
know,
throwing
we have
F.S.
something
dots
we
at
can
people, they
email to
start
them.
cowering in their shoes.
We need to send you to other office meetings.
Yeah, right, exactly. You're preaching to the choir, brother, we get it.
Providing the disclosures for everybody and stop saying there are none.
Right, exactly.
So you want me to send out an S bond?
Yeah, right, S-bomb, all right? Good deal?
For, one last point, it's 720.401,
That's Florida statute?
Florida statutes.
720.401?
Yep.
720.401.
Yeah, that's a,
Seared in my mind.
that's the.
Exactly.
That's the S bond.
Awesome. David, thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it. Oh, hey, you wash your hands? All right, okay, good deal. I just shook. David, you ready? Go from David to David. So, here's the deal. How many of you guys work the Wesley Chapel area? Okay, quite a few of you. Good deal. All right, David is here with Avex Homes. David specifically reside, not you personally, but you work the model center on Avalon Park West.
Exactly.
Right? So tell us about what you got going on, and then we're going to talk about what Future Home has going on in Epperson. So,
Thank you.
this is not projecting your voice, it's just so they can hear you online.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
How many people have heard of Avex Homes? All right, there's some hands out there. That's great. So Avex Homes has been around for about 6 years. We're owned, or we were founded by a developer called Avalon Park Group. Avalon Park Group is building a gigantic neighborhood, about 3,000 homes, a downtown center, very similar to West Chase, where we are now. A little more condensed. In Wesley Chapel, it's called Avalon Park West. Avalon Park in Orlando started about 20 years ago. We've owned the land in Wesley Chapel for the same period of time, since 1988. And they just now got the clearance and the approval from Pasco County. They're widening State Road 54. We just broke ground on a new charter school, a community park, and the first commercial building are all starting now. So this neighborhood's been around for about 6 years. Avex Homes was founded in Avalon Park West, but we're actually based out of Orlando, where Avalon Park in Orlando is. We have about 9 neighborhoods in Orlando and 2 here in Tampa. Avalon Park West and Epperson, the Crystal Lagoon community, which we'll talk about. So in Avalon Park West, I have 12 different floor plans. We're about to start townhomes in the spring. We just finalized the blueprints. They're in permitting. I'll have townhomes, 1,800 square feet. They'll all be 2-car garage. They'll be 1,600 to 1,800 square feet, all 2-car garages. Right now, we're in there with another builder. There's a map of the whole neighborhood, really just the first section. The first 300 homes have been built. It's a big deal. I have inventory. Avex as a builder, we're owned by the developer. We have plenty of financial resources, so we always have inventory. Right now I have 3 inventory in Avalon Park West. They're all on the MLS. Just search Avalon Park West or search that zip code, or even search by the map feature, which I like the most. We're paying 4% on all of these listings currently. We'd love to see them close by the end of the year, so please bring your buyers by. The least expensive is $260. I just put in a request this morning to lower it to $257 to get a little more activity. They all include closing costs, $6,000 to $7,500 roughly in closing costs. They're all completely finished, ready to move into. 1,800 square feet for $260, hopefully $257. 2,100 square feet for $273, hopefully $269 by the end of today. And then I have a Jessup, the largest home we build in that neighborhood. It's 2,974 square feet. It's listed for $329. It's a beautiful house. I have lots of activity on that one. I think it'll probably be gone in the next week or so, hopefully. What else can I tell you? Avex builder. Our floor plans are very unique. Definitely go to avex.com or avalonparkwest.com. There's a lot of good information on both websites about the neighborhood and about the floor plans. The reason why Avex was started was because we couldn't find a builder to build what we wanted. Big front porches, garages in the back. So the floor plans are very unique, especially in Avalon Park West. we're building in Epperson. I'll let Bob talk about Epperson a little bit.
Yeah, so Kirk reached out to me. Kirk is the VP of Sales, right? Is that his title?
Yes.
Okay, VP of Sales for AVEX. They happen to be in Orlando. Reached out to me as the broker owner. Actually, by the way, kudos to you. Reached out and said, hey, look, I did an MLS search, and your office sells more in Wesley Chapel than any other office out there. Okay, so kudos to you. So he reached out to me and said, hey, look, they're just finishing up, they're wrapping up in Epperson a little bit. Hey, by the way, Epperson, you guys know Epperson? All right, where the what's it called, Crystal Lagoon?
The first Crystal Lagoon in the
that thing
country.
Is it open yet?
It is not open yet.
Okay, it's on the edge, all right? I'm telling
It's
you,
complete.
They were moving beer and wine in last I saw, all right? So that stuff only has so much of the shelf life, so they gotta get close, right? So it's on the edge, it's beautiful. We being, you'll see them under me. I have some agents, I put my signs out there because they hired us to finish out. They have a model and 2 other inventory homes. One inventory is probably about 3 weeks away still.
Yes.
Okay, the other one's completely done. So there are 3 in the MLS right now you'll see under my name, all right, that are listed. Did you show those? Okay, very good, awesome. They're on lockbox vacant. Here's the other thing, beautiful homes. It's called the Abbey is the model, and it's a 4, 3.5, 3 car garage, about 3,180 square feet.
Yes.
See,
They're all the waters.
yeah, they all have, they back to.
Water view or conservation.
Water view, and they're really close to the pond, actually, or to the lagoon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I didn't catch it. What was the price point?
Those range from the model itself, because it's tricked out, all right, this is an unfurnished, is like $529. The unfurnished, but completed and still on the water, I think is at $447. There, if you search MLS under us, under Future Home Realty in my name, you'll find the 3 that we currently have listed there. More importantly, those of you that work that area, those are available for open houses, all right? If you guys would like to sit open houses at those locations, including the model, I'm getting some details. What I'm gonna have you do is work through my assistant, Mara Lee. You can schedule with her. She's keeping a spreadsheet of when people are gonna be there. We don't want each other stepping on each other's toes, all right? Now, on that one, because of the price points and where they've hired us at and where we are, in the MLS, you see 3% is the co-broke. Any future home agent, though, because I'm allowed to do this because I am Future Home, all right, we're offering 3.5%. All right, so you get 3.5% to any future home agent who sells one of those out of the gross commission that we're receiving on those. Beautiful. Epperson, it's incredible. I mean, and this one is close enough that it's going to be real close to where you can walk under that tunnel.
Right, there's a tunnel that goes directly to the
Underneath
lagoon.
the road, so they don't have to get out. They can just bike over to the lagoon and be there. So it's pretty incredible stuff. So take advantage of those opportunities. I'll be making an announcement in the Just Us Agents FHR page as well as Facebook page as well as 100K for those of you who may want to sit open houses there. Cool? All right, good deal. Brian.
Selfish plug.
Yeah.
Don't forget, I've got a new home warranty that will take their warranty to 5 years. So we do
Awesome. On top of it.
5 through the mechanic.
Okay, because you guys offer a 210 on yours, right?
Exactly, we do
Okay.
the Builder 210 warranty, which is
Right.
pretty standard in the
So like on
industry.
the air conditioner, where it might be parts only the last few years, we would cover the waiver on that.
Okay.
So for
Good deal.
$605, you could have a 5-year warranty.
Awesome. Good deal. All right, but to pay attention, we're going to be sending some stuff out. I've been waiting to get the right pictures in and getting all my stuff squared away and making sure Mara has a spreadsheet set up so we don't get overrun with requests for open houses, how we manage that.
Yep.
But, because even the model, do you still have someone sit in the model though?
The model is open and staffed by an AVEX person Thursday through Sunday.
Okay,
It's
gotcha.
closed on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay, but we could sit there Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Absolutely.
If you want,
Please
even
do.
Prior to, all right?
And if
So-
you guys need any help, I would probably be your contact for stuff at the model or those homes.
And even the home down from the model, which is fully done, and actually happens to be the lower priced of the 3 on the cul-de-sac, is beautiful, and you can sit in open house there anytime as well. Okay, so, yes?
You have the flags, like new home flags, you have those kind of.
They're out there at the model because they have to, the developer makes them make sure they keep those out. You would just do regular open house signs to generate people there.
And Bob's signs are in the front yards.
Yeah, you'll see my sign in the front yard, my smiling face. All right?
Exactly. So these are on that table back there. I'll leave these for you guys. Avalon Park West information, the inventory, and then the Epperson information. If you have any questions, my cards are in here too about Epperson or Avalon Park West.
Awesome. Good deal? Perfect.
Thank you.
And Dave brought more bagels. We got
Yes.
Our
And
bagel
juice.
per person ratio is high today. All right? Way high. You can tell this is not 100 100K meeting, because 100K we'd have only bananas and oranges and nuts, all right? But you guys got it going on. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. You're welcome. All right. So take advantage of that opportunity. It's a huge opportunity for us because, and the reason why they reached out to me, I could not decide between all the people that I'm not going to, this person, so I said I'm just going to list it under myself and offer it out to you guys to go sell these things, all right? They're great homes, great opportunities. Oh, sorry. Do you have a question from the crowd there, Jim?
Specific training on to sit with them?
Oh, no specific training to sit in them other than be presentable, all right? Okay, we want to represent well, right? And you can go to the model center, even if it's closed, because it's lockbox vacant. Use a lockbox. There's a CBS code on each of them, so you'll use the showing button, right? So that we can get you the CBS code. And then in there, you can even get some more of those pamphlets, so you have availability. In the MLS, we have the floor plan. They're all three the same floor plan. The floor plan's there, as well as a brochure, stuff about Epperson in general. So you want to be obviously knowledgeable. What else is? I'll tell you what else I did, quite frankly. If I were going to sit in an open house there, I would go around to US Home, or not US Homes, MI Homes has a model center there. Go know your stuff, right? If you got something else, why wouldn't you say, hey, let me shut up real quick and let me walk you over to MI Homes and register them? I mean, I'm not saying we're not going to not sell these things, but I get it. If you're there sitting and someone says, I don't know if this floor plan works for me, I mean, why are you sitting in an open house? To meet new buyers, right? Okay, so go make it happen. Fair enough? Any other questions? Tom?
Yeah, I just want to let you, what was the other subdivision there off the highway before?
You were at Avalon Park West.
Avalon Park West. Mickey Suarez and I
Ah,
actually set their model whenever they used to go to meetings.
yeah.
And we actually held open houses in their finished inventory about a year ago, wasn't it?
It's been that long, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's, you get to meet a lot of people.
That's right.
If you're interested in doing that, please reach out to me.
Awesome.
It allowed me to do some open houses in the inventory.
Sure, perfect, good. We've got a great relationship going with them so far. The fact that I'm out in Orlando now too helps because I can meet with Kirk on a regular basis. So it's going to be a good relationship for Future Home Realty to have with this builder for us to help generate more business for you. And by the way, I'm just telling you that lagoon thing, all right, that $1 billion lagoon thing, all right, is not only pretty impressive, but every time I've gone to go, do something at the models or something, I'll drive by and people are like, there's like a little scenic turnout there. People are there taking pictures. I mean, it is a draw, right? I know you feel like it's a long way out there, right? And it kind of is. But once you're there, it is beautiful. It is truly an oasis, all right? If you haven't seen it, it's pretty incredible.
They're building a second, they start with a larger one. They're building a new one.
That's amazing. All right, so it's
Under construction in Riverdale.
is there down there? Okay, cool. Awesome. Any other questions? Take advantage and let's go sell these things, all right? Let's get them sold because we're not going to quit between now and the end of the year, all right? Brian Brown wants us to stop at Thanksgiving, all right? Okay, oh, just the one day. All right, sorry. Okay, all right? No, but we're going to sell right through because you guys...
Watch the Lions lose.
That's right. Okay, there you go. That's it's a Thanksgiving tradition. Right, exactly.
All the Lions fans like.
So you can say that. All right, good deal. All right. By the way, if you haven't had a chance, if you aren't on the, I don't post it on Just Us Age. I post it on the 100K page. Some of the other pages, you'll see my Monday motivational videos that are out there. If you haven't seen those, check those out on Facebook. But today's what's called just finish. What's it called? Something about finishing. Finish strong. Yeah, finish strong. All right. And the reason we're going to finish strong is that you guys understand, most realtors quit. All right, starting right about now. Okay, they're going to start packing it in, doing other things, and they're going to believe the lie that nothing happens after Thanksgiving. They're going to start getting into that mode, right? I'm going to encourage you, and I say this on the video, we know realtors are lazy, right? Our competition is lazy. I know I'm talking to the non-lazy ones, I get that, all right? But most realtors, 80% are lazy, all right? That jacks up to about 95% being lazy come now through the end of the year. Everybody starts saying, oh, let me start business planning for next year. All right, screw that. It takes you 15 minutes to business plan for next year. All right, what are you going to do between now and the other X minus 15 minutes from now to the end of the year? Go out and get things done. I'm just telling you, there is business to be had right now. All right, and you guys may be missing it. Okay, I'm talking to not you. All right, might be missing it because you're focused on, oh, I got to think about what I'm going to sell in February. All right, forget that mess. Go sell now. November, December, traditionally my highest sales months when I was selling. Always. Why? Probably because everybody else quit. Right? I was actually answering my phone. Right? I was, again, like I always did. All right? It's just continue to do that. Brian?
I'll just back you up on this.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard for me for brokers, they don't really want to meet with me.
Yep.
But I can catch brokers from the office from December 15th through the 31st because they're the only one in the office. I go in there, I work those 2 weeks, and the only people that are in the office is the broker and the manager. I get to see the brokers and managers between December 15th and December 31st.
It's true.
So there's your point right there.
Yep, it's exactly the case. So, absolutely. All right, fair enough. Everybody's going to not shrivel up and die for the next 30, 47, 8, 52, how are you? 52 days. All right, we're going to continue working. Got it? Cool. All right, so indulge me. Here's the thing. I told you this is the teaser. I said, Kim, come back. All right, you want to win listings? I'm just telling you, if you can start to educate your sellers on this, I'm going to start promoting this heavily. All right, I have always said since probably for 8 years since the ad, because Tom, Mary, and we've been around long enough where we remember where contracts were not written all the time on the as-is contract, right? Okay, that's, those of you who newer in the business are like, oh, there's another contract? All right, I get it, right? You don't even realize there is a non-as-is contract, but there is, all right? The advent of the as-is contract kind of came after the 2008, 2009. We started coming out and things started moving along and sellers were panicked because they didn't have any money. They were doing short sales anyway. So since we're doing all these short sales, let's just make a contract as is because we don't have the money to pay our mortgage, much less do any repairs, right? So they just started writing as is. Well, it became very in vogue to use the as is contract. I saw listing agents begin to beat their chest, all right, promoting themselves as the listing agent of the year because they convinced everybody to use the as-is contract. Well, I read the as-is contract and I said, that looks like a get-out-of-jail-free card to the buyer to me. Well, what do you mean? Because, and I'm going to, here it is. This is the as-is contract. By the way, this is the one that's all highlighted up because that's the one that's on our training right now. Right? If you go to FHR University and go to the section-by-section training, I focus on the as-is because that's where we are. I'm now going to have to remark one of these up and teach one specifically on the sections that are different, all right, on the as-is compared to the regular. But this is the as-is, and here's what I mean by get-out-of-jail-free card, all right? Where is it? There we go. Read this one. I even say it. This is get-out-of-jail-free card for the buyer. It's my remark on that, all right? Okay, here's what it says. If buyer determines in buyer's sole discretion that the property is not acceptable to the buyer may terminate this contract by delivering written notice of such election to seller prior to the expiration of the inspection period. So it has to be done during the inspection period, right? If buyer timely terminates the contract, the deposit paid will be returned to the buyer, period. What does that mean? If there's 10 days like there is in that contract right there that I'm using as an example, if there are 10 days in there, your buyer writes an offer, gets it signed, fully executed, and continues to shop. What? Yeah, continues to shop, finds a better home on day 9, right? Finds a better home they like better price per square foot, better area, better school district, better whatever, better in the buyer's eyes, and they say, oh no, Henry, what do we do? Oh, that's okay. Because the listing agent made us use an as-is contract, and so because of that, we're on day 9, and we can say that you are electing at your sole discretion. What does sole discretion mean? Unilateral, all right? Unilateral contracts are good if you're on the unis side, right? Okay, if you're on the other side, not so good. They've got a unilateral right to cancel this contract for any reason, right? By the way, do they have to have a home inspection? Nope. I'm just exercising my right under paragraph 12 to cancel the contract. Well, what do you mean? Can I see a copy of the home inspection? What home inspection? All right. Now, let me encourage you this. I just had this discussion yesterday with one of our agents. She may be online right now, all right? Is her buyer had literally signed the contract. It was before, she caught me before church even, all right? And I said, okay, I'll get this one answered before church. So she caught me before church and said, hey, look, my buyer just signed literally like half an hour ago and has changed their mind already. I said, well, first question out of my mouth was, did you use the as-is? Answer was yes, no problem. Okay, here's what you're not going to say, though. Like I said, I want to make sure we're clear, all right? Because I had an agent do this, and it gums up the works a little bit. You don't say, hey, listing agent, the buyer changed their mind. Okay? Change their mind is not a contractual reason to get out of the contract. It's not a good one to use, all right? A change of heart, all right, doesn't help, all right? You say things that are in the contract. The buyer is electing under the terminology in paragraph 12 of the FAR bar as-is contract to cancel the contract because they've determined that the property is not acceptable to the buyer. Why? You know what? They realized that the numbers on the mailbox were only 4 inches tall and they need 4.5 inch tall, whatever. You don't have to say anything. You just say, it doesn't matter, they're out, okay? Now, all the beating of our chest as a listing agent saying, oh, I negotiated as is for you, Mr. Seller. Oh, good, what an agent you are, thank you very much. And then they're like saying, welcome to Florida. WTF, what happened on day 9? All right, and they're looking at you and saying, what do you mean they can get out? Well, you know, that as is contract kind of, you know, they're exercising their right to get out. And the seller's saying, what? Right? Because I thought you were a hero because you got me an as-is contract, and now Jeanette and I just watched Christmas with the Cranks. You ever seen that movie? Christmas with the Cranks? You have got to see that movie. Okay, well, Tim Allen, all right, Tim Allen's in it. It's Christmas with the Cranks. They decided to skip Christmas because the daughter's going away, whatever. And so, this is, what's that? Yeah, you've seen it? Okay, it's a great movie. But when I say, you know what, when the seller, it just reminded me, when the seller says, hey, you're a genius for getting me an as-is, and now you're an idiot for getting me an as-is, all right? There's a line in there where, you know, the whole idea she's sold on, they're going to skip Christmas and go on a cruise because the daughter's going to be in the Peace Corps, all right, Peace Corps, right? So the daughter all of a sudden calls the morning of their cruise, or the day before, and says, hey, I'm coming home, and I'm engaged, and I'm expecting the party, and all that stuff. All right, and so the wife says, oh, I can't wait, let's go have that, you know, and he's like, what are we talking about, we're going on a cruise? He goes, no, we can't, that's a stupid idea. He goes, what, 5 minutes ago I was a genius. Well, now you're an idiot. All right, okay, all right, and that's kind of the way marriages are sometimes. I'm a genius one moment, and then 5 minutes later, I'm an idiot. That's okay, all right, we take it. That being said, the seller's gonna say the same thing to you. Hey, you're great, all right, now you're an idiot. All right, because you got them out of the contract by having them sign that. Catch this, all right? Here's that other contract you didn't know existed. Watch this, guys. I didn't make this up. It's in there. It's in form simplicity and everything. Okay? Now, I'm only going to give you a section of it because I just didn't have time. I decided to do this morning. So this is FAR bar residential sale and purchase contract. FAR bar doesn't say as is. All right? It has repair limits. Now, I'm only going to show you 4 pages because these are the 4 pages that apply to what we're talking about right now. Okay? First of all, we're going to go down, and this, I believe, is page 3 of the contract. It's under paragraph 9. And I didn't scan them. Oh, there we go. Here we go. Paragraph 9. Seller, closing costs, fees, and charges. These are the things that are going to be paid by the seller. That part, top part, doc stamps, that's in the as-is contract. See where I bracketed it? Okay? There are repair limits now. Okay? Did you know we used to have repair limits in the contract? Seller was obligated to pay up to X amount, X% of the purchase price toward repairs. 3 different ones. Used to be 2, all right? Now they added the permit and all that other kind of stuff. But 3 different repair limits. One is structural mechanical items, and it goes into a detailed list of what is considered structural mechanical. Number 2 is WDO, all right, which is more than termites, right? Because you understand fungi is also a wood-destroying organism, all right? So it's not, that's why they can call for that to be repaired. So repair limit number 1 is for structural mechanical. AC's not working, roof's leaking, all right? Repair limit number 2 is for wood destroying organism, all right? Most likely termites, dry wood, and subterranean, but also other things that destroy wood, all right? And the third one is permit related items, open permits and so on and so forth, okay? Right now, the as is automatically does away with those because it says it makes those 0. Okay? Well, Bob, why are you putting that and just doing 0 anyway? Catch this. I told you it was worth sticking around. All right? You are obligating your seller to 0 repair limits. Okay? What the heck's the difference? Why not just use the as is? But wait, there's more, right? Okay, because catch this. Everybody okay with that? You can go look it up, it's there. You put zeros, or put $500 in there. I don't care, right? But just understand, if you put $500, then the seller's obligated to do that, all right? Now, you need to know this too, because they're in Orlando, like I said, they have started that sellers, by the way, can a seller mandate a type of contract that he wants to see the contract on? Okay, seller can, agent can't. Okay, all right? Agent can't say, oh, I'm only looking at crisp contracts. Can I see in writing where your seller has mandated that? That's your right to ask that. If not, I'm presenting my contract on the FAR bar, and you'll put it in front of the seller because, all right, your obligation is presenting in all, right? You have to present any and all offers regardless, all right? But if the seller has requested in writing, I don't want to see any other contracts except if they're written on this, you can use the terminology, okay? All right, so now that they have that, okay, everybody got that? 0 repair limits. Everybody with me so far? Okay, so it's like an as is, right? But wait, check this out. Let's go down. That was page 3, by the way, so 3 of 13. Now let's go skip all the way to paragraph 12. By the way, if you're looking, is on page 5 of the contract. Okay? Now we talk about property inspection and repair. Inspection period, buyer shall have, no difference here, all right? The as-is contract defaults to 15 days. You can put whatever date you want in there, right? But let's say we leave it as default to 15 days. So the buyer has 15 days. All right, after the effective date, called the inspection period, just like it did in the as-is. Okay? That to have, conduct general inspection, WDO, and permit. By the way, if you do these things, that's why we always encourage you to go get your municipal lien and your permit searches done during the inspection period. Because even on the as-is, after that period, your buyer has lost their right to cancel. All right? You say, oh, but there were municipal liens. Well, you better, unless it becomes a title lien, all right, which other provisions would kick in, you're going to have a problem getting those things repaired or taken care of outside of the contract. All right? So you always want to get those done during the inspection period. Everybody agree with that? Okay, cool. You'll read through this. By the way, I'm going to record a class on this on FHR University. All right? But the thing I want to get to is this. Buyer shall have waived seller's obligation, repair generally. All right. It goes lengthy about what is considered. By the way, they do a pretty good job in the contract of describing what is considered cosmetic and what is considered mechanical and structural. All right? That's coming on the next pages. All right? You need to read that and be familiar. By the way, as real estate agents, do you think we should be familiar with the contracts we're asking people to sign? Okay? Okay, yeah? All right? Come on, Bob. Are you joking? I have 1,300 agents. I'm not joking. All right? We need to be very clear and knowledgeable on the contract we are using. Okay? Jim, make the camera nod so I can see that everybody online is agreeing to me. All right? Okay? Everybody's agreeing with me. All right? We need to know that. We need to know what the HOA disclosure says. We need to know that there is an HOA. We need to know that we should be using an HOA disclosure. Right? All these things, it's our job, people. We're well paid. As much as you like to pretend and tell me that you are underpaid, all right, go watch somebody roofing and tell me how underpaid you are. All right? I'm calling BS on you. Go earn your money. All right? 6% is a lot of money. All right? Go earn it. You should be knowledgeable in the contractor you're using. All right? It goes through. By the way, are cosmetic items ever mandated to be repaired in the contract? No, except when the cosmetic repair comes as a result of a defect in a warranted item. Ceiling stain, cosmetic. Ceiling stain caused by a defect by the roof. Okay, what's that?
I know.
Oh, yeah, that's right, and I understand. It really becomes a structural defect because of it. But there's a lot of times people say, oh, I don't have to fix that, and our agents tend to cower at that, say, oh, yeah, it says it right there, that's cosmetic. Except when the cosmetic condition is caused by a defect in a warranted item. Okay? Which a lot of cosmetic, you can't say peeling paint because it's old. Peeling paint because there was a leak there? Yes.
But if the roof has been changed, but the stain still stays.
Then, but still, where did that leak come from? All right?
Change the roof after.
I understand, okay? But then I would still push back, and I still think you have the right to ask for the cosmetic repair to be done because back before the roof change, it was caused by a defect in the warranted item at the time. Good question, though. Yes, ma'am. All right, see, look at that.
Which contract? Because you can ask anyway, right?
What's that?
Which contract?
Yeah, you can, on the as-is, you can ask, right? But just there's no obligation. Agreed. Okay, so you absolutely can. It depends on who you represent. I'm going to highly encourage you to use this when you represent the seller, to go with the regular contract and zeros, because here's why. We can get in a long debate about all the repairs that they have the right to ask about, but at the end of the day, seller's obligated to zero repairs because we put zeros in there. Remember back to the previous page? However, catch this. Let's keep going. By the way, here's where it talks about property condition, all right, general property repairs, all right. Okay, here's the meaty part, all right? General property repairs. See that section starting on line 292? Can you see it? Okay, I'm going to read it because quite frankly, as much as we like to complain about the contract, if we read it slowly, it's pretty good. It says what it's supposed to say, all right? Seller is only obligated to make such general repairs as are necessary to bring the items of the condition specified in paragraph 12B2 above. We can take a look at that. They don't have to make things new, all right? They just have to make things working, all right, in its intended function. Go back and read that section above, all right? Seller shall, within 10 days after receipt of buyer's written notice of general inspection. Okay, by the way, this contract is different. If the buyer is going to request repairs, all right, they have to provide us with the reason they're asking for those repairs. And the seller has the right, it says this in this contract, to request a copy of the inspection report. All right? So the buyer owns it, I get it, okay? Seller has the right to see it if you're asking me for repairs, okay? If you're saying, hey, I'm good, seller has no right to see the report. But if you're asking for repairs, why are you asking? Right? Well, because the inspector came back and look on page 12 of the summary, Question?
Can you just isolate two pages that are referenced, or do you have to send the full report?
Question, we go back and forth. You could probably just send the questions in the portions that that correlate to the requests that you are making. Absolutely. Good question. Okay? All right? That's it. So let's say now the buyer comes back and says, hey, look, there's a couple things wrong here. I did this and this and this. Okay? 4 items. The list, it's going to come up to $787. All right? Total. All right? Everybody got that? Okay? All right? So the seller shall within 10 days after receipt. So they received this. Hey, look, Sherry comes to me. I'm the listing agent and says, hey, we did the inspection report and there's $787 worth of stuff the buyer's requesting. Right? Seller has 10 days. All right, to respond, because he's going to give him time. I'm going to get my own estimates, thank you very much. I'm going to see what I want to do, how much this is really going to cost me to repair these items. So seller shall have 10 days after receipt of buyer's written notice of general inspection, or either have the reported repairs to general repair items estimated by an appropriately licensed person, get another person out there to get another estimate, and a copy delivered to the buyer. Hey, look, I found somebody that's going to do it for $437, not $778. Okay, that's what that says. All right, or have a second inspection. Hey, I think your inspector was wrong, okay? But the seller would have to pay for a second inspection, right? For $778, it's probably better just to get the repair done, right? Rather than get it re-inspected, all right? But for $7,780, maybe you get it re-inspected, all right? Just kind of economy of scale there, all right? Estimates repair to buyer. If buyers and sellers' inspection reports differ and the parties cannot resolve the difference, buyer and seller agree to choose and equally split the cost of a third person, all right? So hopefully we don't get to that point, but everybody's agreeing to that. Here we go. Now catch this. This is big. If cost to repair general repair items equals or is less than the general repair limit, seller shall have the repairs made in accordance with paragraph 12F. All right? Well, it's hard to be less than 0 in repairs because we put zeros in there. Know that if you use this and use the defaults are 1.5% of the purchase price. $300,000 home. What does that mean? $4,500, $4,500, $4,500. All right? So I'm not saying use this and leave the 1.5s if you're trying to mock or imitate the as-is, right? But I am saying if you're trying to do it, make it 0. All right? So in our case, $778. $778 exceeds the 0. Agreed? All right? So we're going to have a different thing kick in. So if it came under that amount, let's say we put $400 in there, right, and it came in at $388, seller has to do it. Everybody agree with that? Okay, that's what that says, right? Okay, if the cost to repair general repair items exceeds the general repair limit, right? 778 exceeds 0. Yes? So that's our situation here. Then within 5 days after a party's receipt of the last estimate, right? So the seller has 10 days to get some other estimates in, said, hey, look, it's not 778, it's only 432, right? But it still exceeds 0. Seller may elect to pay the excess by deliver written notice to buyer. You know what that does? That's a very small line. Let's read that again. 302, the end of 302, the beginning of 303. Seller may elect to pay the excess by delivering written notice to buyer. Seller says, you know what? I got my own estimates. You're 778. I can get that stuff repaired for $442. It's worth $442 to me to not put this house back on the market, and you have no get out of jail free card. Seller at their sole discretion may elect to pay the excess, and excess in our case is the total amount because we put 0 in there, to do it. And the buyer can't just get out of jail free. Do you see the difference? Yes?
Okay. I'm talking here is about dates, and like in the assets, as a buyer, you have the inspection period, you have to negotiate all the inspections and repairs within those 10 or 15 days.
Yep.
And if you want to get out, then you get out. But in here, you're adding 10 days for the seller to...
Up to. Get more estimates.
Repairs and stuff.
Huh?
So...
And guess what's happening this entire time? Just what you're explaining. We're under contract.
Right, but so if in this contract, if the buyer wants to get out of the contract, they cannot get out of the contract within the 10 days or 15 days?
Nope. That's why I'm saying when I represent the seller, right? Who do I represent? Remember, we promote single agency here, right? We are not transaction brokers. Only transaction brokers when we're mandated by law to do so, meaning if I sell another Future Home Realty listing or my own, okay, which happens to be a Future Home Realty listing if you're with Future Home Realty, right? So why do I like single agency? So I can write a contract that's going to benefit my client, and I could care flipping less about the other side. Do I do it to say, no? I'm just saying, hey, look, you know what? You know, as a transaction broker, then I got to say, hey, look, by the way, I have a fiduciary to a person I've never met. I hate that. I want my fiduciary with people I know, right?
No, I understand.
Yeah.
Trying to understand.
There is no out for the buyer.
There's no...
That's right. It's a mind shift. I get it. It's a paradigm shift. Those of you who grew up in the as-is contract era, all right, think that there is this as-is contract is the only contract, and it has been for the most part. Here's why I'm encouraging. This is a life changer. This is a game changer for you. When you represent the seller, consider doing this. Now, do you better know what you're talking about? Because you get yourself tongue twisted if all of a sudden somebody starts pushing back at you. Because do you think buyer's agents out there, here's what else I know, all right? And this sounds arrogant, but it is because I'm smart and that's okay, all right? Most brokers don't understand the contract like Jim and I do. Most brokers used to be engineers and had nothing else to do, and they retired and said, let's open up a real estate company. I'm sure to tell you, they never sold real estate like I did, all right? I've forgotten more about real estate than most brokers will ever know, okay? I'm just here to tell you, all right? I see it out there. They're nice people, all right? Okay, but as far as their knowledge of this kind of stuff and real-world application, all right, they haven't done it. If they haven't done it, they haven't done it in a long time, right? So I'm just here to tell you, you should, if I were out listing properties, I'd say, hey, look, you know what? Why should I list with you compared to everybody else? Let me ask you this. Is everybody else recommending you use the as-is? Oh, yeah. They're promoting the as-is contract. They think that's great. Let me show you. Let me tell you a story, right? And you run through a scenario like this. Said, you understand that that as-is contract gives the buyer a right to cancel the contract anytime during that inspection period. And you understand, like we just discussed, that goes away Their right to just unilaterally cancel the contract anytime during that time period goes away when we go in this direction.
We just had this conversation with Florida Legal Hotline.
Yeah.
Sean and I were in the office. We represent mostly buyers because we're
Yeah.
in the flea market.
Yeah.
And we said, he said one thing and I said, no. I
Yeah.
think, because I've always used this when I represent a buyer so I can ask for repairs. And that's, I represent the buyer. I don't
Sure.
care what the listing agent wants.
Right.
I write the FAR bar contract.
Right.
And I put in 1.5, 1.5,
Right.
1.5.
Fair enough.
And he was saying no, because if the seller does those repairs up to that limit,
Yeah.
then the buyer has no back out.
It's true.
Florida Legal Hotline. I said, well, as a buyer's agent, what do you recommend? He said, Rider L. You
Okay.
need to use the FAR bar contract and you use Rider L, which is right to inspect and right to cancel. He said that is the best protection for your buyer, because not only will you get the repair limits, but you also have the right to.
That gives you a unilateral right to cancel. Okay, so fair enough. Here's an answer for our buyers.
And we just
All
found
right.
this out, like,
Okay,
Friday.
that's awesome.
And I-
Okay, so that's right, perfect. All right. So I haven't read this lately. All right. So don't hold. Again, I'm trusting what you're saying, and it sounds like basically you ask for repairs, you put repair limits in there as a buyer. Now again, we're shifting gears here, right? Because I've been coming to this from a seller's perspective. Seller's perspective, I like that I like this contract with the zeros in it. From a seller's perspective, everybody understands that, right? Buyer's perspective, all right, you can ask for some repairs, which obligates them, yet still gives you the get out of jail free card. I'm assuming that's what this says. Okay. All right. Is it during the inspection period? So it kind of is the best of both worlds. I'll be honest with you. All right. If I'm a listing agent, I'm saying, you don't get the best of both worlds. All right. But can you slide this by most listing agents? Yeah, because they're already planning their Thanksgiving feast. All right. Seriously. They're not even paying attention, like, oh yeah, sign here, sign here, sign here. All right. Okay. All right. Okay.
In the addenda disclosure to.
Correct,
contract,
but
and why
it-
did that go away? Because that used to be our get out of jail.
I understand, but people were complaining about it because it was redundant on the as-is contract. All right, but yes, ma'am.
But you still have that last part that says, if either party delivers such merchandise to the other,
Yeah.
either party may terminate
Yep.
the contract.
Yep. Okay. Absolutely.
So.
So you better give notice.
If you have.
Well, if you let the time periods expire, right, without any resolution, buyers ask for 778. I represent the seller. Buyers ask for 778. I go and I get re-inspected and I say, okay, I can get it done for 442, but I don't tell them that I can get it for 442 and I'm going to fix it. Then they have the right to cancel
And then they have the right to cancel.
because you didn't get back to, you didn't communicate.
10 days after they provided.
Either party, doesn't give is the buyer a unilateral get out of jail free card. Let me go continue to shop and find a better home during the inspection period. Here and then here.
So, just thinking as a buyer's agent, if they already know you'd like to get out of this, can't they unrealistically ask for $10,000 in repairs?
It has to be provable. And then the seller would have a right to get their own estimates and say, no, your $10,000 is really $722.
Or even, I mean, no seller will repair every little thing on the list, so what if you ask for every single thing that came up?
If I'm a seller and I say, you know what, hey, we're just shifting market right now. I like the price I got, and you know what? I've got people that are licensed that can get this stuff done for a lot less than what you think, and I'll get those repairs done. It's what I'm saying, you can try and ask for every little thing, but it has to be provable. In the as-is contract, there's no proof required. It's just buyer changed their mind. We don't say that, but the buyer decided to go a different direction, all right? And so that's why the as is. Again, who do you represent? I'm just saying there's nothing wrong with either asking for repairs and using rider L, right? Or just writing the as is because you tell your buyer, hey, look, we can get out of jail free, right? Javier.
While the seller is figuring out
Yep.
what they want to do,
Yep.
the extension period is coming to an end.
Yep. That's right. Because there's only so many days, right? That the seller, and you guys, that's why there's got to be open communication. You better know your dates there. Hey, look, the seller has 10 days to get new estimates, and now you're on day 9 of getting new estimates. As a buyer's agent, you say, hey, look, what's the seller going to do? Has they got its final estimate? All right, if not, then on day 10, his right to get other estimates ends, and in my opinion, then another 5 days kicks in, right? To say, okay, all right, per that contract, to say, okay, what are they going to do? And at the end of that 15th day, after delivery of the inspection report and the request for repairs, that's when, if no notice is given, either party may cancel the contract. Jim.
Just everyone understand that form there, if you can't get something like that, just for your buyer side, well, the worst case scenario is 30 days out. Best case scenario is to do your inspections as fast as possible and get that report to them, because that's going to minimize, if you wait 15 days to get it to them, then they've got 10 more days.
Plus
and
5.
Another 5, that's 30. So you need to get your reports in as
Right.
fast as possible and ask for those repairs.
You understand the second 10 plus 5 kicks in the day that the inspection request and copy of the inspection is delivered to the seller. You understand that? So if that's delivered on day 3, all right, of the executed time period, right? Now they've only got 10 plus 5 after that date, not after the inspection period date.
I've seen them written, that the contract, that's the part of the contract you're presenting, 5-day inspection period.
Sure, absolutely.
I mean, you can write.
Right. The other thing I would do is if you represent the seller and they refuse to use this, right? You don't want, you've explained to the seller and then they still present it as is and your seller, well, let's take a look at it. All right. Then I'll tell you this, I'm representing the seller, I'm shortening the inspection period. I'm not going, if I know it's a get out of jail free time, then I'm going to shorten the get out of jail free time. Right? Okay? Question, and then we'll go here and then we'll come back.
What's the best method of communication to keep everything recorded in writing?
Email.
Email?
Yeah, verification, read receipt, delivery notification and read receipt. If you use Outlook or anything like that, you can request that it's been read and so on and so forth. If I were talking to somebody very particular and if I was up against a time period, all right, I'd send an email, I'd follow up with a text, follow up with a phone call. The more documentation, we've got to be able to prove it, right, David? More documentation we have, we can go back and get phone records and everything else saying, I called you, I told you, right? You can't say because David will promote to us heavily. It's not just execution, but it's also delivery, right? Because that's when the clock starts ticking, when it's delivered, and we have to be able to prove the delivery date. Cool? Yes?
I recently had one case and I presented the seller.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we use a as-is contract and the inspection period time in about 15 days.
Yep.
But the buyer applied VA loan.
You do what, buyer what now?
VA loan.
VA loan, okay.
Okay, so at the end of 15 days for the inspection time up, and I'm assuming that is the time that the buyer cannot get out, for the contingency. Okay, so, they cannot withdraw or cancel the contract.
On an as-is, they can.
Already past that time.
Okay, you already passed the inspection period.
Yeah.
Got
Already
it?
past that.
Okay.
But here's the thing is the VA loan require a VA inspection.
Uh-huh.
So the VA inspection will going to be top of the home inspection already done.
Correct.
Okay. So the buyer requested a long list of a lot of cosmetic repairing things based on the home inspection.
Based on the home inspection. Okay, during the inspection period?
After. They had last day on the last day of the
Now,
inspection.
here's where you're headed. The VA rider overrides.
Yeah.
Okay, it extends that, but the only obligation the seller would have is up to the repair limit that's listed in the VA addendum.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, and it has to be what they call the VA and FHA have what they call VCs, valuation contingencies, right? They'll list it on the appraisal VC 1, 2, fix the wood rot on the front southwest corner of the front, right? You'd have a list of those 2, 3 VCs. The seller, if there was room in the repair limit set forth in the VA rider, would have to repair those items even if after the inspection period. But only those VCs. They can't add to it their own list of items that they came forth from the home inspection.
So the thing is, the VA lender waived the VA inspection
Okay?
and take the home inspection report as their base.
Okay?
So,
Say, you know what, VA lender, so, and where is that, where are we here?
so
Okay.
the story is, I'm sitting here and the seller said, should I repair this?
Right.
And the buyer sent this list, but the VA lender did not say anything, did not request any repair.
Right.
What we should do?
Right. I say you don't have to fix it. Absolutely. Absolutely, you don't have to fix it, and we're going to closing. At this point, and technically you could say, hey, look, if your lender, now again, the other downside of that is you're still within the loan approval period.
Right.
The lender could say, hey, look, unless you fix these things, all right, they're property-related conditions, unless you fix these things, I'm not going to lend money. And they could say, hey, look, I couldn't get a loan based upon this, and so they could cancel the contract then.
Tell the buyer agent, and the only thing that missing right now is the appraisal report. So the appraisal report already come out beautifully, nothing wrong with the property.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're done, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
All right? Absolutely. Yeah, you're golden.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. Awesome. All right? I know we're late. So you see the gist, though. It's a little bit of eye-opening here when you start to think about it, right? Because quite frankly, get out of jail free cards are not good when you represent the seller. Everybody understands that, right? I think that you can differentiate yourself in the marketplace from an agent who has no clue, who's still beating his chest saying, I negotiated an as-is. All you did was negotiate a get out of jail free card for the buyer. That's all you negotiated. Because the buyer can change their mind and we have no recourse. Here, 000, when I represent the seller, buyer can say, hey, look, I want these things done, or I changed my mind. I said, I don't care. Right? I changed my shirt yesterday too, and that has nothing to do with the contract. All right? It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter because the seller is electing to pay the difference and has the right to, at their sole discretion, now it's in the seller's sole discretion, to pay the difference if they so desire. Right? Now, if it's too big and the seller doesn't want to fix it, you say, hey, seller's not going to fix it, let's move on, you cancel and we're done. Right? But it's not this automatic, oh, okay, we're biting our nails on day 9, waiting for that ultimate, hey, buyer changed their mind email come. Okay? Henry?
What's the contract number? I got 2 questions.
Yep. It's blue. I'm just kidding. It is, let's get down to the bottom. It's just the Florida Realtor Florida Bar -5.
All right. And then the other, now, if you have a seller that says that they want this bar, and a buyer that comes with any other offer.
Yep.
I mean, you can rewrite it for yourself and send it as counter, right, on the same contract.
Yeah, you could counter because there's nothing wrong with the seller presenting a yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. Everybody understand? Yeah, you can say, hey, look, you know what? And again, if the only way you can mandate that they write it on a certain contract is that you have written requests from your seller saying, I only want to. Now, why would a seller do that? Sellers know our contracts? Yeah, they do if you've explained it to them. Here's why I suggest this. It's up to you, but in order for me to mandate that election and say, you only want it, I need to have you say you understand this and you agree to it. Jim?
There's really no reason to mandate.
No.
All you gotta do is just say accepting all offers. When they come in, you just counter on.
Counter on the one you want. Which is your point.
Your client as to why we should probably do this, and then they say, okay, let's do that.
Right.
And that's your counter. It's not a big deal.
And when you do it that way, it's a good point because you're not raising you're not raising their alert button early, right? You get it, you send it back with this one, and most who haven't attended this class, all right, who don't have a broker like me, don't you wish your broker was smart like me, right? Is going to, they're going to say, hey, look, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, no difference, it's zeros. We still got an as-is contract, all right? And they have their buyer sign it, no big deal, no difference. Now you, as the buyer agent, say, hey, look, there's a difference here, right? Because I am smart and I realize the difference is that we're obligated to this, and the seller has a right to fix things if they elect to fix it, then we can't get out. And if we're looking for that, the only way, okay, we're only going to do that if either we use rider L or we write it again. Let's go back to them with an as is one more time. Okay? But most are going to say, 000, oh, we're good. Right? And then when they go to cancel on day 10, 9, you're like, what are you talking about? Well, buyer, is electing under, I said, what paragraph 12? What are you talking about? Where's that clause in our contract? What? Oh yeah, that was on the one I sent you, but the one we fully executed, there is no verbiage there. I said, yeah. You think? All right. Go to FHR University, watch the class. Oh, I don't have access to it. Well, it's your fault for not being with Future Home Realty. All right. Okay. What's that? He's got a good case for it, in my opinion. Not only, again, seller can keep the escrow because if they're canceling, say, forget it, I don't care. My buyer didn't understand what they were signing. Okay, take that to the judge. All right, okay, have fun with that one. All right, explaining that one to them, and then go for it. Now, again, are you going to have a fight? Absolutely. All right, but do you have the contract on your side? Absolutely. Fair enough? Yes, ma'am.
So if the buyer agent could put an offer, but the offer is based on the as-is contract.
Yeah.
And I, as a seller agent,
Yeah.
I counter back
With this one? Yeah.
That's very doable.
Absolutely. And then, again, most of the time you'll slide it right by them, especially if you put zeros in there. Because they're like, oh, it's the same. 0, 0, 0, all right? That's essentially why they're doing it. I don't know. Bunch of idiots over there. We could have just saved ourselves. Trust me, these are the conversations that are going to go on over at Caldwell Banker. All right? Okay? I'm just telling you, it is. And everywhere else, right? They're going to sit there and say, oh, it's no big deal. No, just go ahead and sign it. It's the same thing. All right? Because they're not going to understand. Right? The biggest thing you can do, the best thing you can do for your business is understand your contract and be very good at market analysis, understanding where prices are. If you can do those two things as an agent, you'll set yourself apart from about 98% of the realtor population out there. That you fully understand your contracts, right? And the differences between them, and go take a good RPR class and actually know how to pull stuff from other sources than just, I don't know, I did a quick CMA and here's what it says. Okay, well, there's more than just a quick CMA, all right? There's analyzing trends, where things are going. There's a lot of data there. It's growing every day. The more data we have, the more knowledgeable we become, and the more we can pinpoint on our scatter plot where a true price should be, right? Go take an appraisal class. Go listen to an appraiser and learn how they think, right? Buyers and sellers and everybody else, we're still a slave. If there's lending involved, we're still a slave to the appraisal, all right? Okay, as much as you think that, we've got this all figured out, the appraiser doesn't agree with us, we're in a world of hurt, right? You'll be able to defend your positions. Fair enough? I know we went long. By the way, you understand it's only 11:10. They haven't shifted their clock back, right? Okay. I don't want you that mad at me, all right? Okay, but I'm just telling you, this can change, okay? It can change everything you do. Last thing, some dates I need to write down. December 6th. Is that it? Write it down here. It's a Thursday, I believe. Is that correct? Thursday, December 6th, our Future Home Realty Christmas party. All right. Feather Sound Country Club. Okay. Feather Sound Country Club, I think we're going to go 2 to 5 or 2 to, it's either 1 to 4 or 2 to 5, one of the two. All right. It's something. I have to go back and get to my people. Let my people talk to me and tell me what time I'm supposed to be there. All right. Yes, sir.
And what will we have there?
What will we have there? A Christmas party.
And Metropolitan Ministry Barrels.
Oh, yeah, thank you very much, all right? Metropolitan Ministry Barrels, so you can donate a gift from, because Jerry does a great job with his group and collecting toys for food for Metropolitan Ministries. It's you and a guest, no kids are allowed. You'll be getting an email invitation. Please respond, because we need to keep them notified of how many people are coming, all right? But it's a great time, it's always good. 2 to 5, it's open, you can come all 3 hours, or 1 to 4. You can get all 3 hours, you can come for 15 minutes, doesn't matter. Be a great time. And our vendors, there is a we provide the buffet and all that stuff, and then our vendors actually end up providing for the most part the drinks because they give us drink. They purchase drink tickets. So then Brian says, well, I'll give you a drink ticket, but I got to tell you about Old Republic Home Warranty. So you got to sit there and listen to a spiel. All right, I'm thirsty, dude. Come on. All right, okay, I'll give you my next deal. All right, and then you get your drink ticket and you go get a drink. Okay, fair enough?
Just for your contracts.
Yeah, right, exactly. That you'll trade them. Right, drink ticket for a new home warranty. Perfect, easy enough. All right, good deal. All right, and our other vendors will be there doing the same. Tom?
Talk about RCF a second.
Yes.
You all know about the Realtor Care Foundation. I brought it up 1,000 times at different meetings and so forth. And just wanted to let you know that in the last 3 months, we've given out 10 grants.
Nice.
And we're giving 5 out this month.
Each grant is how much?
Up to $5,000.
Nice. It's for down payment assistance.
That means that we are helping 15 people and 15 agents, maybe 30 agents, because there's two sides to every transaction, close properties for people that may not be able to buy a house. And I'm proud to say that 2 of those 15 were my closings.
Nice.
So basically, you all really need to pay attention. And when you pay your dues at GTR but before November 30th, don't uncheck that $25 to RCF.
Right.
Keep that check, pay that $25 because that helps us raise funds to be able to do this to people. And we also...
And all the funds get distributed directly to the people.
Funds, right, to the people. And of course, we also donated $3,000 to a fund for hurricane that hit North Carolina.
Yeah.
And we did another $3,000 to the hurricane that hit the Panhandle.
Nice.
And we actually donated that directly to one of the realtor associations that was destroyed.
Nice.
To help them reestablish themselves and help other realtors get back on their feet and so forth. So we do a lot of that. That's what those funds are for. And we cover Hillsborough, Pinellas, Pasco, Polk, and Manatee counties. Okay? So if you go to the Realtors, that's with an S, Care Foundation of GTR on Facebook, pinned to the top is the application. It has all the income limits there so that you can see what those income limits are for each of those families.
For potential buyers from families.
Okay?
Awesome. Great. Thank you, Tom. Does a great job with that. Something else you reminded me of, and I can't remember it. So I remember dues are due, right? For most of us, pros, about the same timing, I think. These are not MLS dues. These are just regular, your annual NAR, FAR, and NAR, FER, and Getter Pro, whatever, your local board, whatever you are there. Trust me, I'm a member of about 12, 15, 20 boards. All right, I know when dues are due. All right, I get hit, with all these. So everybody good there? Questions I can answer. All right, utilize this. I'll go ahead and give me a week or two and I'll get this class up on FHR University. I'll hide, instead of just having brackets, I'll have it highlighted, some of the key points, kind of some comment. And on there too. Oh, last thing, on FHR University, if you go there, the very front page, there's a 17-minute discussion about that email I sent out, okay, about why we don't do lease options without prior holy water blessing from me, why we don't do assignable contracts without holy water blessing from me, all right, and my logic behind those other items I listed there. Okay, just because we want to talk specifically. By the way, in the assignable contract, many times I allow them. You just have to convince me why they're writing an assignable contract. Many investors are writing an assignable contract because they're going to buy it in a name and then get a new LLC to put this investment property. It's called a single property LLC. Makes complete sense if that's their answer. Here's what I'm trying to avoid. Trying to avoid wholesalers. Okay? Wholesalers are not your seller's friend. Right? They write contracts, just had one the other day, all right? $180,000 home, guy wrote this offer and made it assignable, right? Why? He put $500 down as his earnest money. Says it's a cash deal, right? Agent called me, hey, look, I'm supposed to run these by you. Yeah, good thing, because here's what it is. You're dealing with a wholesaler right now. What do you mean? He's going to try and find another person to buy it from him for $200,000 and assign that contractor for him to this other person and make that $20,000 juice, right? And if he can't find it in 45 days, all he's losing is the $500, right? So it's worth it to him to take that risk and do it. Well, what should I do? Ask him why he's assigning it, number one. Number two, if he's truly cash, Jim and I preach this heavily, all right? Take your proof of funds letters and burn them. Everybody understand what a proof of funds letter does?
Nothing.
Zero. I can show you $1 billion in my bank account today and get a wild hair, fly to Vegas, and let's go, baby, 7-11, baby needs new Kohans, right? And billions gone, all right? Gone. Your proof of funds means nothing. Just because it's there today doesn't mean it's there tomorrow, all right? What's the best answer on a cash deal? High escrow money. Buying it for $100,000, you're going to pay cash, put 30 grand in escrow. What? 30? Why? Because now you got some skin in the game, brother. All right? You're really cash? What's the big deal? It's only you're going to close in 20 days, you told me. All right? What's the big deal?
But the whole 100.
Exactly, even better. Get the whole amount. Let's just put it all in there now.
That's proof of funds.
Yeah, that's proof of funds, right? Exactly. Amen. All right? Amen. That's exactly it, right? And so with that in mind, so we're trying to avoid these wholesalers who are just trying to find a deal, all right? Because they used to write option contracts, all right, and say, hey, look, I'll lose my $10 option if I can't find the C buyer in 45 days. And then we all got smart on them, all right, and said, okay, now they caught on to us on that one. So we'll write these cash contracts with low earnest money deposits, right? No. So this agent, she came back to me and said, what do I do? I said, well, I went back to him. She kind of started hemming and hawing. I said, yeah, he's a wholesaler. All right, he went to Ron LeGrand's seminar over the weekend, right, and learned how to buy houses with other people's money. Sunday, come, right? All right, and they showed them all these tricks on how to do this, and the reality is it's bogus, right? They don't have other people's money. They're hoping to go find other people's money in the time frame that they wrote on the closing date, right? So that's why. So I explain all that. I explain the pitfalls of a lease option, right? I've written more lease options than you ever will. Trust me, in my career, I know lease options, all right? I also know why they don't work right now and potential flaws and why I don't allow them as a broker, okay? So go listen to that. Cool? I'm really done this time, all right? Have a great day. Hope to see you guys at the Christmas party, and look for that email coming out. All right. Go right.